here we are, episode 30.
Yeah, wow. Time
of
flies.
The American Craftsman podcast.
This is the last day of March, right?
Yeah.
This is officially our Easter podcast.
Yeah, it's our Happy Easter podcast.
Yeah. You know the best thing about Easter?
The candy.
You read my mind. But not just any old candy.
Easter candy?
The Reese's eggs.
Oh, yeah. And the Cadbury eggs.
Yeah.
And the chocolate bunnies and the Peeps.
Yeah. Not that we didn't both spend our fair amount of time going to church.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for those who are, I don't want to say actually religious. I don't know how to put that. But
actively religious.
Yeah, like the people that are...
like my wife goes. She goes.
Yeah, like for real
palms.
Catholics and those of the Christian faith, like Easter is the big deal. It's Christmas is not as... Easter is the actual big kind of holiday.
That's very, very true. Easter, and I was very active in our local Catholic church for a long time, and Easter's the biggie of the holidays.
Yeah.
So we got our palms in there because my wife, she picked up the baton and she goes.
Say the mascot for the holidays, I don't know, a little questionable.
Yeah.
Compared to Christmas, but
yeah. We used to call them the A&P Catholics. Ashes and palms.
Yeah, it always did sort of signal the springtime, where it's like you go to church for Palm Sunday and it's actually warm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. We ain't at church today.
No.
That's ridiculous.
The Church of Wood.
We're not going either, but we're here for the beer of the week.
Yeah, I picked this out from the grocery store next door.
Oh, yeah. I've had this before.
And I like the label, and I like that it was made in Hawaii. And I thought that was kind of cool.
You gonna tell people what we got?
Yeah, we got Kona Brewing Company Longboard Island Lager.
Nice.
It looks like a simple kind of, that what was that other red labeled beer we just had, the
Smittix?
The Smittix, yeah, reminded me of Smittix, and I was hoping that it might taste something like that because of the redness. It may have just thrown me off.
I hate to break it to you though.
Yeah.
This ain't brewed in Hawaii.
Oh, I'm very disappointed now. KonaBrewingCompany.com. What is this from Hackensack again?
No, Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh, I see. Brewed and bottled by Kona Brewing Company, Fort Collins, Colorado, for Kona Brewing Company, Kona, Hawaii.
Fort Collins isn't where they make Coors Light, is it? God,
I hope not. Oh man. But it's got a kind of a nice little bottle, sort of old fashioned.
Yeah, it almost looks like a soda bottle.
Right.
Liquid Aloha, and it's got a little embossed Hawaii on there.
We got to use Keith's bottle opener.
Yeah. We shipped out a couple more glasses this week. If you guys are interested, we're drinking out of the official glass of the American Craftsman podcast, which you can find on our website. That way you can have a beer along with us.
This is pretty light.
Yeah, look at that. It almost looks unnatural, that color.
Yeah. We usually don't have anything that looks like that on the show. Longboard Island Lager.
It smells good. It smells like a Corona.
Yeah, it smells a little bit standard, I'll say.
Clear as day.
Here you are. Cheers.
Cheers to you guys. It's just your good everyday kind of beer.
Just a sitting on the porch kind of beer. Got the ball game on the radio.
Yeah. Yelling at the kids going by.
I'm not sure. I had my second vaccine yesterday, and was wiped out all morning. So I'm sure drinking beer is not supposed to be on the
It may get you through. My father-in-law had his on Monday, and he was laid up yesterday with a fever and everything.
Yeah,
he was feeling pretty crappy.
So all in all, I survived pretty well.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is grab the tool of the week.
Oh, go ahead.
I got it over there.
Yeah, go grab it. I'll keep the folks entertained. Jeff's going to get the tool of the week, which is something we actually used on a little bit of a side project this week. We have the shop filled with finished and nearly finished jobs as we're waiting for the delivery times to kind of coincide with our free time. And some of these are not in the area. And we both built ourselves these little
couch arm tables, I guess.
Yeah, little trays for the side of the couch.
Yeah.
And so when we used the tool of the week, and we said, hey, we forgot how handy these things are.
Yeah. So tool of the week this week is so this is not, if you're watching, this is not what it comes in. This is a Talenti container.
Gelato.
Yeah. So this is what's known as a Miller dowel.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a golf tee.
Yeah.
So this is what is that?
Step
2 3/4 inches, 3 inch.
Yeah.
About a 2 3/4, 3 inch long dowel, and it's actually stepped. So it goes from like an eighth to 3/16 to a 1/4 inch to 3/8.
Yeah.
And it has it's not it's not tapered. It's actually stepped.
Yeah. Big difference.
And there's a step drill bit that goes with it. So you buy your dowels and the bit. I think they do have 2 different sizes.
3, I think.
3.
Yeah. There's a tinier one and there's a larger one.
Yeah. So this is Miller Dowel 1XG.
1X. I think that's how they
1X, 2X, 3X kind of thing.
I think that's how they do it.
Clearly, we don't know that much about them.
No, we
use them.
Yeah.
So it's a nice bit. It has like that nice bevel cut into the spiral that you see on the good bits, and it has the countersink portion that the top goes into. So what you do is you clamp your pieces up, or what I did is I actually glued them up. So it was a face to edge grain joint. It was glued up. I let it sit for about an hour. Pulled it out of the clamps, and then you drill your holes with the step bit. You put some glue on your dowel and in the hole, and you can pound these in, and it's a super solid connection.
They're really strong. I don't know if you remember that. Remember, the chairs and the ambo and everything I made for that church 100 years ago with all the odd shapes. I used Miller dowels for that whole thing, and they're rock solid.
Yeah. Yeah, this second to last section 2 has little glue grooves.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Glue grooves. And it's an exposed dowel at the end.
Yeah.
They come in different species. We have maple here, and we used up all the walnut ones yesterday, but they come in, a variety of species.
Yeah, so you can match or complement.
Yep, yeah. So yesterday I did sapele with walnut, and I think you did maple.
Yeah.
Sapele with maple dowels. It's a good way to do joinery fast. Like you can do a butt joint and just use some Miller dowels to get some, even if it's like an end grain to face grain, you can get some good glue surface with the dowel. Gives you that pegged look, and it's easy. So check them out. They're cheap.
Yeah. I'd say one thing to be careful of is not to put too much glue in the joint, because those
won't go all the way in.
Yeah, it won't go all the way in, and you'll try smacking it in there, and it'll just crack the wood.
Yeah. Yeah, like you don't want to put them too close to the end. I brought them in 3 inches from the end.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before. I did it down. I think I used Miller dowels on that the box that the sander's sitting on, and I blew the end out because it was too close.
Yeah,
Probably not good for like anything. I'd say 7/8 with this size.
Yeah,
I go 7/8 or better.
Yeah, use the smaller one.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I would say a lot of people haven't used the Miller dowel system.
Yeah, actually, Sal the Carpenter, rather, sorry, on Instagram, Sal Donato, he's up in North Jersey. He was saying he uses them, and the first place he saw them was on this old house. They were using them to fix a squeaky stair.
Oh, I can see that.
That's a pretty good Pretty good application.
Like it.
So they definitely come in maple, walnut. I got to assume they come in oak.
Oh, yeah, they do come in oak. That's the one I use for the church.
Cherry, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe mahogany?
I think...
Pine? I don't know.
I think there's some sort of like, I'll call it exotic.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe it's ebony or something of that nature. I don't remember.
Let's see. I got the computer here.
Yeah. Check it out.
Miller Dowel Company, wood joinery, wooden dowels. Let's say since 2002. That's it.
So it must only been about 98 years ago that I did that.
Yeah.
Not 100.
1X for attaching wood pieces up to 1 1/8 inch thick. 2X for wood pieces up to 1 5/8 inches thick. Mini X for joining wood 1/2 inch stock with a max of 3/4. 1 XSR for commercial cabinet and furniture production.
What's the SR?
Super ridiculous. Miller dowels are available in 4 species for interior
Yes.
projects. The dowels are available in red oak, black walnut, birch, and cherry. Oh, I guess those are birch, not maple.
Okay, yeah. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. So they're in Wilmette, Illinois.
Oh,
About us. Tell you a little bit about the while we're here.
they're American made, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
It all began when Mike Miller, a third-generation inventor, cut his hand on an exposed nailhead on a dock. This experience turned his inventor's mind. Sorry, this is small print. Turned his inventor's mind to solving the problem of nail pops. In doing so, he asked the question, could the strength of wooden golf tees be combined with a step design to solve the problem? What are the odds? Indeed, they could, and in 2001, the Miller Dowel Company was founded after Mike Miller was awarded a patent for his design of the Miller Dowel. It's funny how they say, like, he was awarded a patent.
Yeah.
No, he applied for a patent and they gave it to him.
That's a good point about them. They don't open up. Those joints.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't
They're like
back out.
self-clamping. At the end of 2002, International Woodworking Fair, the company introduced the first Miller Dowel and the True Fit drill bit, and the business has been growing ever since. I won't bore you with any more of this, but looks like, yeah, nice little story there about how he came up with them. And I'm looking to see anywhere where it says American made. I'm assuming that they are. Excuse me. I swept up the shop and there is dust in the air.
Yeah.
Doesn't say made in the USA, but I can only assume that they are. We don't have the packaging here.
No.
Obviously, it's in a ice cream container, but
Love that ice cream.
yeah. So yeah, check it out. We'll have that down in the description as always. It's a good way to do a simple exposed, dowel,
Yeah.
and
It's
you don't have to use a doweling
joint.
jig. It's just with a hand drill.
Yeah. Strong joint. All right. So the gripe of the week is up next on our itinerary, but we've been talking about putting it to bed for a little while. We've been doing this about 6 months now, and
Yeah.
a change of scenery is always good. And I think today's a good time to sort of turn the gripe of the week on its head. And I'm gonna have a commendation of the week. And that is related to my my COVID shot. I got it at CVS Pharmacy. I don't know if is CVS like a nationwide brand.
Yeah, probably international.
Yeah. So this is basically a corner drugstore that they turn the stock room into a place where there's 2 stations giving out the vaccine. If our government or any doctor's office was run with this kind of precision and timeliness, we'd be in much better shape. I mean, it's amazing. I was there twice to the same place. You drive into the parking lot, they send you a text on your phone, you check in by just clicking on a link, you go in, they have your name, they have your appointment. There's only at the very most 2 people in line. You go in there, everything's 6 feet apart, and super polite. It was an amazing operation.
Yeah, now I went to the state run, or actually, I guess the one I went to was federally run.
Yeah, at the base, or was that Rowan?
It was at Rowan University, so that's being run by the Army and by FEMA. And same thing, it was like clockwork. Like they got the whole, it's all Army dudes in camo, like checking you in, and obviously not giving you the shot, but very fast moving and matter of fact. It just went smoothly.
Yeah.
My second shot, I was in and out in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, me too. I probably waited about a minute to 2 minutes. Then you have to, sit for 15 and make sure that nothing goes haywire.
You don't keel over. In the observation area, they call it.
That's right. But kudos to CVS Pharmacy for pulling this all together and all the people that were doing the work there. I mean, super nice. And it's got to be kind of a stressful job. I mean, you're seeing people all day in and out like that, and so much riding on it.
The nurses too. The nurses that the first and the second that gave me the shot, like so nice. Like they could have just been like, "How you doing?"
Right.
Shoot you with the thing. I'll get out of here. I mean, very friendly and like, did you have any reactions to the first one? And it was just.
It was a good experience overall. I thought.
So I'm probably hitting immunity.
That's right.
Now or maybe next week. They say 2 to 3 weeks after the second shot. So
I'm ready to go out and party, huh?
No.
That's the trouble.
Yeah, I have a social obligation on May 1st. I'm trying to think of ways to get out of it.
Yeah. That's the thing. We have to be responsible so we can all get a handle on this.
Yeah. Well, and I just don't want to go.
That's true too, but anyway, we won't go down that. Any
I
further.
had a bit of a gripe, but I'll keep it to myself.
What? Come on, let's hear it.
The fucking guy at Lowe's yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm at Lowe's yesterday buying light bulbs. I needed some LED light bulbs for the house.
We should say though that you and I are really not suited for the outside world.
No.
We work here. You live 2 minutes away. I live here.
I now live 3 miles from the shop. I used to live 2.
So
I'm in the light bulb aisle and I'm buying the 100 watt equivalent 5K Kelvin bulbs, LED dimmable bulbs. So I need 7. So they had two packs. Wait, 7?
Yeah, because there was one
2, 3, 4,
outstanding.
5, 6, 7. Yeah, they had 3 2-packs. I grabbed those, and I would have just grabbed another 2, but they didn't have any. So I pulled out. It's in like a little box. So I pulled it out, and I kept them in there because I was just going to carry the box. I stick my head in, and there's a single bulb way in the back. So I reached my arm in to grab it, and I knocked over the box that had the 3 packs in it. And someone's walking by me, I see, as it happens, and they just keep walking. And so I pull out the one bulb and I turn, and it's a guy that works at Lowe's.
Offering up that customer service.
He didn't stop to help me pick him up or to say, thinking to himself, oh man, this guy's he's up to his shoulder in this thing,
in the shelf,
trying to reach for something. Can I help you with something? Are you looking for something? No, nothing. No. He just kept walking, some old man. And then I had to run in with him again as I'm getting to the self-checkout, where he was just like waving his fingers around, pointing people to go places, and he wasn't speaking.
Yeah.
He finally said something. I said, oh, your voice works now?
Yeah.
He was a real dick, this guy.
Yeah. There's something about the difference that could make in your experience, right? You could have gone there, and if somebody could have helped you, led you to a bulb, or done any small thing, would have been completely different. But instead, this guy was really just shirking his responsibilities as the assistant.
Like,
call it. Somebody
drops something and you don't.
Yeah. It's just common courtesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I was in Lowe's and I was walking down an aisle and someone in front of me dropped something, I would fucking pick it up.
Yeah.
And say, here you go. I wouldn't just keep walking.
Yeah. I'll tell you, one time I was at the Home Depot, and this was a long time ago before Lowe's was built. and there was some guy trying to put 2 pieces of sheetrock on the top of his little car. And I'm parked next to him. I had this big truck, 4-door, 8-foot bed, huge, the biggest kind of pickup truck, as far as length and everything that they made at the time. And I'm saying to myself, do I ask this guy, he's never going to make it home with these things on his roof. So I said, all right, don't stand on the sideline. So I go to the guy, come on, let me put this in my truck and I'll follow you to your house.
He's like, this guy's trying to rob me.
He couldn't believe it. And it turns out he just lived a couple of blocks away, which I sort of figured anyway, since, it's a neighborhood store. And he was so happy, tried to give me money, and I wouldn't take it. And then one of the next times I was in the store, I was trying to grab something really heavy, and some guy just came, another customer, out of his way. He said, here, let me help you with that. I said, yeah, look at that karma.
Yeah. Yeah, I've given people ratchet straps before, in the parking lot. You see somebody in a car trying to I'm like, just take it. I mean, they cost next to nothing.
So hopefully that dude gets some karma.
Yeah. Yeah, you dick me around, I'm going to tell you go fuck yourself. But if I see you struggling in the parking lot, I'm going to help you. Or you drop something, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people should be more like that. You got to call out the people that are being not good people.
Exactly.
And, but be a good person at the same time.
It's always easier to lead by example.
Yeah.
So that was nice. You had me cracking up yesterday.
Oh, I was heated because I didn't have anybody to tell.
Yeah, because I was off getting my shot.
Yeah. So when you got back, I had to unload. Oh my goodness.
So this is a nice little thing coming up.
I want to mention. So we talked about it. Did we talk about it last week?
We may have as we were signing off.
Yeah. So we spoke last week about doing a Zoom meeting about our whole process, basically from the time a client contacts us all the way up to the point of fabrication, not fabrication itself, but everything up to that point, using our spreadsheet for pricing, our scope of work letter, all that. So this is going to be for Patreon patrons only. If you're a patron, we'll be, setting the date. And if you'd like to get involved and be a part of the meeting, you can go check out our Patreon. You can, you can cancel after.
Yeah.
If you want to check it out, join for a month and then you can cancel. Maybe you'll stick around.
It's something we've been asked about quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we really want to do it for the patrons. So, sorry, we can't offer it to everyone, but we're just trying to do something special for them.
Yeah. Because not everybody understands the process of how to price things, how to interact with a client, how to develop a proposal, develop a design.
Yeah, and how to do things in a profitable way,
Right.
how to streamline this process so that it's not like
it's not a second job.
The bidding part, some guys spend days on bids.
Yeah.
That you're not making money when you do a bid.
No.
So you need to be able to just get this thing to spit out a number and then you can send it off and
one that's going to be accurate, allow you to get the job and allow you to profit with the job.
Yeah, and focus that time on the design, and working out your kinks there.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. You can, I think I can put a post on the Patreon that's a public one. So even if you're not a patron, you'll be able to see it. We're ironing out dates and times because I want it to be accessible for everyone. So, we'll keep you guys
patrons,
right. Yeah.
So it could be a live question and answer thing.
Yeah. So people can, we'll send everybody the files prior, so you can sit, have them open. We can go through, plug in some numbers, and see how things, develop. So I think it should be pretty cool. It's something that we'd like to do, maybe quarterly or every few months, every month, some sort of little, I guess, class you would call it.
Yeah, almost like a short lecture series.
Yeah. I mean, we could even get into hands-on stuff in the shop.
Yeah.
So
we have that ability.
Yeah. We've made a couple things.
No, I mean, we could set the camera up. Yeah. Yeah, we made a few things, yes.
One or two. Yeah, we were joking in Clubhouse. We were talking about woodpeckers.
Yes.
And Johnny, I don't know if you're listening to the podcast, but he was saying he has $10,000 worth of woodpeckers tools. I said,
Mia.
We've got $40,000 worth of furniture in the shop right now, waiting to be delivered. And I think all of our layout and measuring tools maybe equal $500.
And that includes our $250 Starrett. Square.
And the 24 tape measures and the expensive pencils.
That's right. $30 pencils. Yeah, exactly. I mean, for laying out the lumber, like when we were doing the rough cutting, I use a plastic square.
I don't even go that far. I just use a tick mark.
Yeah. Yeah, I like using that plastic one. It's, with the lumber crayon and stuff. I get a nice straight line on it. But yeah, there's no need for anything fancy there.
No. Well, we got some good questions this week. We might as well we'll get into those. Our first one's coming in from Blackthorn Concepts on Instagram. This is a good one. What's a tool you don't need but won't give up?
Well, I thought about this. Don't need is that's a slippery thing because we kind of need them all.
It's funny. Johnny just messaged me on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
What are the odds? What a coincidence.
And I'll say that things I don't need right now are probably my framing chisels. And my favorite one of those is my bar 1.5-inch framing chisel. Like, there's other ways to do that work now. I don't necessarily need a 1.5-inch chisel to make furniture.
Especially with a long handle like that. That's
right.
Really, it's like a slick.
It is. It was for making timber frame joints. But so I don't need it, but I won't let go of that.
I'm trying to think. What is something that I want but I don't need? Well, I have like that Lee Nielsen dovetail saw, the tapered dovetail saw. I mean, we don't hand cut dovetails.
No, there's not enough money in the job. Usually.
No. So I don't need that, but I like to have it up there. I break it out for random little cuts and stuff. I have a slew of Japanese saws as well, which are usually more apt at what I'm doing. But I don't know. I just like it. I like the look of it, the feel of it. It's my only Western saw.
It's part of the enjoyment of having our own little shop and our own little space. And because, as we've said before, we put a lot of emphasis on the quality of our life.
Yeah.
There's 100 more lucrative ways to make a living.
Yeah, if this was all about money, I said this in a group chat I'm in the other day. If this was all about money, I'd be here slinging Euro cabinets.
Right.
We'd be busting out boxes and doors.
Which is
we'd be buying the doors.
Yeah, we could easily do.
But it's not. It's not about money.
No, we want to make a living.
Yeah,
and
we have no choice but to make a living.
Yes.
So we have to have a balance of enjoyment and paying the bills.
It's certainly not a hobby, but we're not cutting corners for the sake of profit.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, this is a long question. You had fun typing this next one up.
Yeah.
And it's probably for me. I see a few weeks ago you made Lee Nielsen 60.5 rabbet block plane your tool of the week. My question is, if I don't yet have a block plane and want to buy a good one, will the rabbeting plane do everything a regular block plane will do? Or are there some tasks where you don't want a blade that goes all the way to the edge of the plane? I would love the rabbeting plane to be a good solution for not having to buy both a block plane and a shoulder plane, but not sure if I'm on the right track. Thanks. And thanks for inviting us into your business and shop. Wow, so regularly. You're very, very welcome. That's from Adam Pothast, one of our patrons.
Thanks, Adam.
So, yeah, that was my plane. And if I'm not mistaken, I can't think of anything that it that limits.
Yeah, so there's one thing that the rabbiting plane does that a shoulder plane doesn't. The rabbiting plane has those nickers or like scoring blades on it, so you can actually start in the middle of a board and cut a rabbet, or even a dado. I guess it would be a full, what is that, 1 3/4 wide or something.
Yeah.
I will say that the advantage to a shoulder plane is that it has that really tall square reference surface, so the entire side of the plane is flat, and I have the medium over there, which is, I don't know, it's got to be 2.5 inches tall.
Yeah, I have a little bit smaller one. I think it's just over 3/4 wide.
Yeah. But the side, I'm saying, so you can butt that up against your shoulder if you have a big tall, big shoulder on there. When you're playing in the cheek. The rabbiting plane, it's not quite so tall, so I'd say that's a disadvantage, and the knickers are an advantage. But
it'll do everything that a block plane will do.
Oh yeah.
I think that was probably, I'm not sure, but I would think he was worried that it wouldn't do everything a block plane would do.
I mean, I think it does everything that both will do. You just get a little less reference, but there's plenty on there.
Yeah, I mean that side is
it's a little short in the front, but then it goes up.
Yeah, that little hump shape. Yeah. I love that plane. It's the right size for me. I use it all the time. It's my main plane now. Lee Nielsen stuff. We've said it 100 times. It's
a ripoff. Bunch of junk.
The opposite. That stuff is so good.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to own and a pleasure to use.
Oh yeah.
And when you think about it and when you see it and use it, you'll say, wow, this is actually inexpensive. They should be charging more for the cost of producing this.
Yeah, which is like, we'll get into that on the second to last question about the Cult.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so I would say pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, that's a great choice.
I love it. Won't be disappointed.
No, definitely not. I can't say that there's any Lee Nielsen tool that you'll be disappointed. Even the card scrapers are badass.
And as you get more and more tools, you wind up having tools that will cross over and do things that another tool has. But it's a good place to start. You won't be sorry there. Oh, this next question is pretty interesting.
This comes in from St. John's Woodworks on Instagram. How regimented are you guys with keeping shop hours?
We're very regimented, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this is a job, and we have to be here to work. So 8 to 4:30, Monday to Friday.
We're both here early, just about every single day.
Yeah, there's days where it's 4 o'clock or 3:30 or 3 o'clock, and there's nothing to do. Or
if the work dictates, we've finished something, we don't want to raise any dust.
Right.
We have a small shop.
Or where the next task is not something that takes a half hour, or it's the next task is going to take 6 hours. Well, you don't start it at 3 o'clock.
We want to be fresh.
Right. So yeah, I mean we're very regimented.
That's something that we might even expand on as far as like what it takes to run a business, a small business, because there are a lot of guys that ask us, how can I transition from a hobbyist to a what would you call it, a professional, for lack of a better word, somebody who's going to earn their living at doing this. And taking the work hours seriously is part of it. A lot of people always say, I could never do that. I could never go to work and keep myself honest, so to speak, with the hours. And I think that if you're not able to do that and respect the job, even when we work by ourselves, we're here on time. But we have each other. And so I think there's the respect for each other. We're just like that. We're wired up that way, where we would never.
You don't want to
take advantage.
Right.
I would
say that for everyone.
I was laying down before with the effects of my vaccine. I came out here. Jeff had swept the entire shop, set up the podcast thing, because that's who he is. And if you're not able to do that, it kind of it's a signal that either you're not cut out to be your own boss, or anything of that ilk.
Yeah, and I think working too much is almost just as bad.
Right.
There's guys that start their own business and they work 80 hours a week or 100 hours a week. It's just not. It's okay. Life isn't about working.
Right.
My life revolves around working because I love what I do, and it's part of my identity. But I don't work 80 hours a week or 100 hours a week. I work 50, 60 if you count all the outside stuff outside of the shop. But you have to give yourself time outside of work because the work is going to suffer, and it's not not fair to the client. Yeah.
Back in the old days when I was here by myself, there would be those days where I would make a mistake, whether it be like marking something or, you're going to assemble a joint incorrectly. And then you get the feeling this day is not going to go that well.
Yep.
Where I would stop, leave the shop and pick up some other task to do. Maybe because, there's always something you can do outside the shop, whether it's, filing your papers or organizing. And that's a way to keep your head in the business and not push yourself past, something that might be dangerous or
straighten up.
Just pick up a broom and start sweeping.
Yeah, do something that doesn't require so much mental acuity.
Yeah, like that's a good word.
If you have to move some lumber around or take the garbage out to the dumpster or whatever.
Because we do it all. We do it all here.
Yeah.
We don't have a bathroom. We have to go to the house or around the side. Otherwise, we'd be scrubbing the toilets too.
Yeah.
we're a two-man show. And I'll just close on that. If you're doing this for yourself and you find you're not able to maintain the hours, think about like maybe time to either retire, find something else to do. Some people need
go get a job.
Yeah, an overseer of some sort.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody because it's a lot of work to do this.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're not regimented in the shop, you're probably not going to be afloat for very long because it's hard enough when you are regimented. Unless you're, I don't know, some kind of phenom that's
right
making money somehow and not really working.
Yeah, I'll add one other little quick thing. The other thing we like to be regimented on is like safety protocols. We don't have anybody to answer to here. So we could do whatever it is that we wanted, but we're very careful.
We got two guys. We had to get this saw stop. So we got two guys.
Some inside joke there. But yeah, we have a saw stop. I mean, we paid for it. It's a great tool, great machine, and it has some added safety, but we don't go willy-nilly like it's...
No.
So there you have it. That's a good question, Adam. You want to read the next one?
Yeah. It's from Andy C., one of our patrons. Andy C. makes on Instagram. Wax. What do you guys use on your machine tops? Butcher's wax, paste wax, or bow shield? Or something entirely different? Also, do you wear gloves when applying? Personally, I use butchers and wear a glove. I hate having wax on my hands. We use paste wax. Johnson's paste. Actually, we have min wax up there.
Yeah.
Min wax.
Yeah.
Finishing wax, I guess it's called, which is paste wax.
We use a hard wax with solvent.
Yeah. Which is not what we use on furniture, obviously. We use Carnauba wax. But, so we use paste wax, and I wear a glove. Yeah. Definitely.
I typically won't wear a glove.
No. I don't like the feeling of wax on my hand. I don't like finish or anything on my hands, really.
Yeah. You could see I hardly ever wear gloves. When I was laying down today, I could smell Rubio all over me. I hit the couch and last thing I did was put on some Rubio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could mention briefly why you wax the machine tops. Maybe everybody doesn't even know.
Yeah, I mean it's a protection thing. It's a anti-friction thing. So
Yeah.
the tops of all these machines, I won't.
Most of them.
Yeah, most of them, the planer, the joiner, the table saws, the bandsaw, the
Yeah.
shaper. Well, yeah. So pretty much all the tools they have a cast iron top, and the cast iron is not finished. There's no lacquer or anything
No.
on there, so it needs to be protected from moisture. And wax obviously is
Scopic?
hydrophobic,
Phobic?
hydrophobic. So it repels water. So you wax them to keep them protected from rust,
Mhm.
and it also makes things
Slide
slide through
easy,
real
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Because they will rust.
Oh yeah,
Even in here where we're pretty much climate
yeah. I mean,
controlled.
there's some rust rate.
I think that's from running the wet pieces through.
That actually, I don't know what that is.
It's not my coffee.
Smells like rust.
Yeah. So yeah, we use just an inexpensive paste wax.
Yep. I've put Caranuba wax on there before.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. We use what's handy typically.
yeah.
But,
I've heard about Caranuba wax being bad for like the finishes. Like if you run a piece through and you get the wax transferred
I
on,
see.
it could. But nothing's really going through a machine and going straight to finish here.
no,
So.
not these. Yeah, you're right. So I'm looking. That was St. John Woodworks that was asking about regimentation.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry
Yep.
about that. So that was good. That was another good question. I mean, these are all very helpful, I think, today. Yeah. Next question is, do you have a tip for knowing when your sandpaper is spent? Yeah. And ready for the trash. I find that I tend to keep mine in use for too long. That's David Shoemaker, one of our patrons.
We were just, excuse my yawn. We were just talking about this like the day before David sent in the question. I do the same thing a lot of times where I wait too long to change it, not because I'm like trying to save it or anything. It's kind of slips my mind. The way I can tell is if I'm sanding multiple parts, you'll notice it starts to take longer to do okay, the edge on this one took me 30 seconds, but now this one's taking me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you know. The sandpaper we use, this Mirka Novastar, it doesn't really, the feeling doesn't change so much.
Right. The
And
effectiveness does. But
Yeah, it doesn't get loaded up with dust like some other papers. It looks the same, it feels the same, but it does start to cut slower.
Yeah. If I suspect my paper's losing ground, I'll start going with like pencil marks, light pencil marks. And then that'll give me a real visual aid to see how long it's taken to go through those things.
Yep.
That's a little handy tip.
Yeah. The other way is like if the finished surface, let's say you're sanding with 120, if the finished surface feels like 150, then it's not 120 anymore. So
isn't that the way you get the higher grades?
Yeah. Yeah, we know a guy that does that.
Yeah.
You when you use up a 120, you just put it with the 150s.
Yeah, there you go.
And then you move it up from there.
Eventually you get like 400.
Yeah.
1,000.
And it's a Scotch Brite.
So that's how we know. We're not we don't really have any other secrets or anything like that. But that's a good question. Like when we would have young kids and stuff like that in here helping out through the years, they would have no idea when to stop using it. They would be afraid to change the paper out and they would go forever.
Well, I'll say too, that's if you're talking about an orbital, if you're talking about hand sandpaper, visually that's how I know.
Yeah.
That piece, I fold mine I cut it into quarters and then fold those like a trifold.
Yeah.
Once those two sides are spent and then you bring that third one out, you can just tell by looking at it. They get very visually spent.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right.
One from our good friend Manny.
Oh, Manny Sirianni. Should an employee be forced to operate a machine in a way that makes them uncomfortable, he's asking, especially when there are other ways to accomplish the same task? I know we all need to learn the tricks of the trade, but shouldn't that come with time? Yeah, that's a serious question.
Yeah. Well, with time, you should learn how to operate your machine safely so that, no one has to feel uncomfortable. I definitely don't think anyone should operate a machine if they do feel uncomfortable, because that's, when accidents tend to happen. I'll say that accomplishing the same task, you should always do it in the safest way possible, even if it takes a little bit longer, because, all it takes is 1 millisecond of a mistake where not only is the piece of work potentially going to be shot, but you could be in the hospital and be out for, even if it's just a day.
An injury from a machine it's not over once that scar heals up.
Yeah.
Should an employee be forced to operate a machine in a way that makes them uncomfortable? Hell no.
No. An employee shouldn't be forced to do anything.
Yeah. I would say that some of that has to be on the boss, who is in most instances the instructor as well. So you're as the boss, it's your responsibility to teach your employees how to safely and accurately use the machines and the trick, so to speak. That's something we've maybe taken for granted, that we develop in time of years and years. Should never push somebody into that.
Yeah, like if you're uncomfortable because you're inexperienced, and you're being forced to do something, well, it means you're not ready to do it.
Right.
So you certainly shouldn't be forced to do it in that situation.
Yeah.
If you're uncomfortable because it's unsafe, then no, you shouldn't be forced to do it because it's unsafe. So I just don't see a time. I mean, if it is safe and you are capable, and then, well, that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason that you should be forced to do anything. If you work for someone, they need to have enough trust in you that you're going to do things the right way. And like I said, if you're not at that point, then you're not at that point, and they shouldn't be forcing you. But if you're capable of building a cabinet, let's say, then you build it however the fuck you want.
Right.
Just make sure that you're doing it right.
Right. Make sure the measurements are correct. If you want it stapled, that you're stapling it. If you want it screwed, you're screwing it, and all the other things. But this is probably comes into question more with like cutting operations, where you're, on these big machines with blades spinning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like you want to raise the blade up through a piece of plywood instead of plunging the piece through a spinning blade. Yeah. Okay, that's your choice.
That's the way I like to do it. I don't like dropping it onto the blade.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it both ways. It depends on what the cut is.
Yeah.
And if there's we run a riving knife, so we don't have the option of plunging it down.
Right. But
if you're the employee, but those take the same amount of time, really.
Yeah.
What is it? 10 seconds longer to raise the blade?
Yeah.
I hired you. I'm putting some trust in you. You do what you feel is right and safe for you.
That not a lot of people have that ability to let go. That's probably a separate issue. Now, should it matter if I asked Manny to build a cabinet with specific dimensions, and I want the sides to overlap the top and the bottom, and the back to be rabbited in a 1/2 inch, let's say, give them all the critical dimensions so that each cabinet looks the same as the other that are built by other people, because that's part of it, right? We have to have that uniformity. Shouldn't I allow him to do it? Now, if I expect that a reasonable time to make the cabinet's an hour and it's taking him 2 hours, well, then maybe there's some teaching that has to come down on my end.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to stand there and watch you hand cut the plywood with a handsaw.
Right. Then it's time for another job.
Maybe you're not cut out for building cabinets.
That's right. An X-Acto knife.
Yeah. But, I'm not going to ask you to run a bandsaw with no doors on it.
Right. Yeah. So those wheels are flying and your shirt gets pulled in.
The other side of the blade is exposed.
Oh. So those are good. That's the points. You could see people are curious. They're concerned about shop safety and all that other stuff. So, did we get everything? We know we need to learn the tricks, but shouldn't that come with time? Yeah. I think we covered it all.
Yeah. You don't want to get in over your head on something that's less than safe.
This next question, as I'm reading, it's kind of loaded.
Yeah, we've had this question or similar questions before. This is from Brown's Custom Craft on Instagram. I see guys using CNCs and calling themselves woodworkers. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's not just CNCs. It's other things. I mean, a CNC is a tool like anything else. And that's a slippery slope, right? We're using table saws. We're using big wide belt sander. We're not hand planing our boards flat. Where is that line? And after you answer, I think I'd like to even talk about other things, like something that a lot of folks like us feel strongly about is the invasion of the kind of crafty woodworker that does epoxy and live edge and stuff. We feel like probably we want some delineation between that group and ourselves, where we're meeting different standards and have, developed skills over, most of our lives, rather than just, watching a couple of how-tos and then jumping in.
Yeah. There is no line. Like, how do you put a definition on these things? Like, guys that run just CNCs and really don't do anything else, like, no, you're not a woodworker,
right?
Because you're not actually working any of the wood. It's all being
you
done
might be
by
an
a machine.
assembler of sorts.
Yeah, and like, don't tell me that the drawing on the computer is woodworking, because it's not. We do that too. I don't consider that part of the woodworking.
No.
Anything that we draw can be translated to CNC, because we do everything in Fusion and SketchUp. So no, if you're just cutting out parts on a CNC and putting them together, maybe the putting together part is some woodworking.
It would depend probably on how technical, I would say.
Yeah.
Things are, but if you're just otherwise, you're essentially getting a flat pack, an IKEA. Would you call yourself a woodworker if you bought something at IKEA
and
or
put
any
it together? Yeah,
because those are ready to assemble, and that's essentially what the CNC is creating, a ready to assemble piece.
Yeah.
I gotta check out for a second.
Yeah, and like Rob was saying, with people that are doing these very uninvolved sort of projects where it's just, you're sanding a slab and putting legs on it and stuff. Is it woodwork? Technically, yes. Are you a full-blown woodworker if that's all you do? Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it's not the same thing. So, do we need to label everything and have a name for every, I'm a woodworker level 1, I'm a woodworker level 2. We can't really put labels on things like that, but there is definitely a difference between, like what we do, where you're literally designing and building things from nothing, and people that are just assembling things off the CNC or doing these super simple projects. And maybe it's a little not egotistical, but a little petty to care about these labels, but it can be frustrating to see people calling themselves woodworkers who are just sanding a piece of wood that they bought.
Petty and egotistical.
Yeah, and calling it woodworking. It just it feels a little what's the word?
Well, it's sort of an imitation of what we do. It's like when people say, "Oh, you're a carpenter."
Yeah.
No, we're not carpenters, and that's a legitimate trade.
Yeah.
I mean, there are carpenters out there that will blow your mind with their skill and ability.
Yeah.
So it's not to diminish carpentry. It's just that's not what we do.
Right.
And were you talking about epoxy and stuff like that at all, or?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope as well, and we never want to be we don't want to diminish anybody.
Yeah, we're not trying to push anyone out to the margins. You know what I mean?
But we do want to be given our props, I guess, is the whole way.
Yeah, I was saying like, do we really have to have all these labels where it's like I'm a woodworker level 1 and you're a woodworker level
Right.
2? No, but at times it does feel like people are misrepresenting themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to get in some knockdown dragouts with my wife when she would
It's
say,
like, I'm an auto mechanic. Oh,
Yeah.
what do you do? I do oil changes.
yes. She would say, so-and-so's son, he makes custom kitchens. Like, no, he doesn't.
He buys them
Yes.
by size and then,
then
sells them to a
installs-
client.
Yeah. And then installs them. He's not making custom kitchens. So that's another one of our little sore points.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And we went over that early on, I think, the word custom and all that stuff.
Yep.
And we want to be careful not to alienate anybody. We just would like to be clear about who we are.
Yeah,
our
well,
identity.
it muddies the definition and it diminishes what we do, because what the hell else do we call ourselves but
Right.
furniture makers and woodworkers? But
Yeah.
if all these people start calling themselves that when they do something completely different than us, well, it makes
Right.
it difficult for us to represent ourselves.
Yeah.
The Coke delivery truck just drove by with the back of his goddamn truck open.
Maybe when he turns that corner, there's going to be a bunch of
Yeah.
case of Coke rolling out
Listen
onto
for the
Wilson
crash.
Avenue. All right, should we move on?
Yeah, we won't beat that dead horse any longer.
All right. Glued up a panel and the two boards a pretty different level of darkness. Any way to darken part to try a match without staining? Or should I just lean into this mismatch? That's from Al About It on Instagram. What do you think?
Well, I don't really think there's a way. I mean, if it's cherry, you can like cover one
Yes.
side and put the other one in the sun.
That's the only thing I could think of too.
Yeah, and I guess there are some other woods that darken with the UV light. I know maple changes a little bit,
But that's the obvious one for us.
If this is a book match and they're different, there's not really, it's all about refraction and how, like a piece of maple, you resaw the two sides, they look different. Krenov talks about it in his book. So there's nothing you can really do there. So I would just say lean into it.
Yeah, that's kind of our philosophy too.
Or,
when things
worst
happen.
case, you got to make a new panel.
Yeah, in one respect, Alan, this is something you should have kind of come to a decision before it's glue's coming out of the bottle.
Yep. Yeah, hindsight's always 20/20.
But those times do occur where it's like, oh hell, I was busy, I wasn't paying attention, or sometimes the boards will get mixed up, even though we label everything 100 times.
Yep.
We put A1 with C1 instead of A2, and it doesn't
or even
match.
just put the back where the front.
Yeah, because every board's got a better side, just about.
Yeah. Yeah, like they say, what is it? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah. So lean into it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Just claim it was intentional.
Yeah. The worst part is when it's only the one piece that doesn't fit.
Then it sticks out.
Yeah, it really sticks out. And refinishing, or whatever you would call it, to that degree is a real art in and of itself.
Yeah.
Just applying a stain's not going to really do it. Not on the amateur level. You need somebody that can really
Yeah, like
shade it. And
that
do all
is
stuff.
really the only way would be to to do it in the finishing.
Right.
You know,
like
you'd have
Al could probably do it.
Yeah, you'd have to put, you'd have to darken the one to get it close to what the other one is, and then take into account also how the second finish is going to affect it and try and. So it's certainly not easy. Wish we had more advice on that one, but
no, we know some people that could work some magic.
Yeah,
as far as finishers go, but
hit up Bespoke Finishing on Instagram. He might be able to help.
Wow, we're second page already.
Yeah, we got one here from Barry Conrad on Instagram. How are you advertising? Seems projects are spread throughout the states. Well, I mean, we're pretty local right now. We have most of our jobs are in New Jersey. We have one in Pennsylvania. Did get an email about a job in California, but the budget was $600, and I'm like, it didn't even say what the hell it was. I'm thinking to myself, well, freight is going to be at least $600. So,
and what, you turn that down?
I have to email them back. We don't advertise.
No,
this is our advertisement. Instagram is our advertisement. YouTube.
Our last job is probably our, most active advertisement.
Which one?
No, I mean like the jobs.
Oh
speak for themselves.
Right.
Like last job will lead to the next job.
Right. Depend on word of mouth. So yeah, I mean we bid a job up in Nantucket recently that came in, through a designer that we work with. So, the best situation is that you don't have to advertise.
Yeah, we never really advertise, and even in my long prehistory, I didn't really advertise either. I just had the web presence. That's back when a website was everything, and then websites kind of became passé, and it's social media is really where it's all at. This is where people look for things, whether it's Pinterest or Instagram. And how else do we get? We were lucky enough to meet a designer that we could really get along with.
Yeah. Yeah. You're only supposed to advertise when you're slow. Or, if you're trying to expand the business in some, large fashion, that's a different story. But I throw an Instagram ad up every now and then, every couple months, $50 or something over 2-3 days, but that's it.
Yeah. And, we stay in touch with our older clients. When the holidays come around, sometimes we'll make a cutting board or something like that and say, yeah, so-and-so, we haven't heard from them in like 2 years. We did that nice job. Let's see if you can get back in the front of their mind.
Yep.
And a lot of times those things turn into jobs. Yeah. People going, yeah, I was thinking about doing something in the living room. I'm glad you guys called.
Yeah. People are busy. They don't have time to, they want things, but they don't have the time sometimes to really think it through and reach out. So
it's social media like Instagram. What do we do, Jeff? Do we do anything special?
No, and I'm not even very good at the, you know what I mean? I haven't even posted on social media, and I couldn't even tell you how long.
But it is really what drives our business.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of self-sustaining at this point with designers and word of mouth.
Right. Which is pretty good. We've only been together for, a little over a year and a half.
Yep. Almost a year and a half. A year and a half now.
In the old days, I used to say to myself, if I could make it through the first 5 years, I would make it as a business, because by that time, my original clients would start coming back around again. And we've done better than that. So
yeah,
that's all there is to it. No tricks.
Yeah, we got another one here from St. John Woodworks.
Okay.
He must not be watching too closely. You guys don't seem to be a part of the Cult of Festool. Is that by choice or due to the cost?
Well,
we got quite a bit of Festool in the shop.
Yeah, we have a lot of Festool tools. We're not, I would say the Cult of Festool is the key phrase there, because we're not really fanboys of
No, I mean, they're great
Like
tools. There's not much
yeah.
more to say about it than that. I don't need
Right.
to go out espousing my love for Festool all the time, like some
Yeah.
people do.
Um, I think like maybe like woodpecker, there are people who are collectors in certain brands.
Yeah, we were talking about identity before. It's part of their identity.
Right.
I'm a Festool guy.
Right.
I'm a woodpeckers guy.
We usually pick up a tool when we need it.
Yeah.
We work it into a job, the cost of it, or sometimes we just have to, bust out the credit card and buy something that we absolutely need. Like when two of our sanders gave up the ghost, we went out and we bought another one.
Yep.
And to us, Festool is the best value because they last the longest.
Yeah.
The ease of use and all the other things.
Yeah, the dust collection. I mean, we have 2 Festool vacs. We have Domino, Jigsaw, 4. What do you got? 4 sanders now.
4
4
sanders.
sanders.
I think that's it.
Got the OF 1010 router.
Oh yeah, the router.
And I've had a bunch of Festool that I've sold over the years.
Track saw.
I had another CT26. I had a Domino that I sold. I mean, Festool it's great. They're great. They make great tools.
Mm-hmm.
I run Makita 18 volt stuff for the job site.
Yeah. Oh, I have that Festool. What do they call that?
CXS.
Yeah.
The drill.
Yeah, that's in the house. That's relegated to house duty. That's kind of cool because it stands up.
Yeah.
It's not a high powered tool, and we're used to impacts more than anything in here. But I like that little set.
If Tom Silva uses it, it must be good.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
So yeah, we're not in the Festool cult. You're not going to catch me with an MFT table or something like that, because it's stuff like that I don't really see the need for, like a $600 work table. But yeah, no, Festool makes great tools.
Yeah, we like them. We like them and want them.
Yeah, when we need a tool, there's certainly big consideration.
Right,
if they make it.
That delta shaped sander.
Yeah, I'd like a big router.
Yeah. So we'll be signing up. We'll be drinking the Kool-Aid soon.
It's been drunk.
Oh man, this next question is pretty broad. It's from Black 10 in Furniture on Instagram. What should some necessities be for a new shop built from the ground up? 24 by 24. That's kind of like a 2-car garage size.
Yeah.
Just slightly bigger than what we have. I mean, smaller.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. 2/3 of this. Yeah. So I figured this would be a good closer. And it's hard to say without knowing what you do. I mean, it's Black 10 in Furniture, so I'm gonna just do it as if we were setting up a new shop. So yeah, I mean, necessities. You need a planer. We'll start. You need a chop saw to break down your rough lumber.
Yeah.
10-inch, 12-inch. Doesn't really matter. Then you need a joiner. I'd go 12 or better.
Yeah.
12-inch or better.
Wish we had a 12-inch
joiner. I wish we had a 16 because we have some of these Sapelian walnut boards that are 14, 15 inches wide. Yeah. Then you need a planer, 20-inch planer or better. Table saw or 2, 3 horsepower, 220.
You could probably get by without a bandsaw if you weren't going to resaw stuff,
Yeah.
He's talking about necessities. I mean, I consider it a necessity.
Yeah, I mean, if you're building furniture and you're, any type of casework with doors, you're going to need a bandsaw.
Yeah.
And, our necessities might not be the same as everyone else's, but.
And what about some really good dust collection?
Yeah, you're going to need a good dust collector, a big cyclone collector, 5 horsepower. It'd be nice to have some sort of sander, a drum sander or a wide belt sander. This is I'm talking about machines here, not hand power tools. Shaper or a router table.
Yeah. Yeah, you need that stuff.
Drill press.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I mean, what are the ancillary things that, I'm not talking about machines or tools, but.
Nice bench, place to work and assemble.
Yeah, something with good work holding. That's something that's overlooked, I think, by a lot of people. They're worried about just a bench, but you need to have good vices, bench dogs, hold downs, or hold fast, stuff like that.
And you know what they say about clamps?
Yeah, you always need one more than you got.
Right. You can never have too many clamps.
Yeah.
Get good ones. Don't waste your money on stuff that you say, well, I'm going to replace this, because that's lost money.
Yeah.
Then, you said the random orbit sanders, there's routers, hand tools, marking, measuring, laying out.
Yeah,
planes.
I mean, there's a ton of stuff packed into this shop.
Yeah.
And there's not really much we can get rid of in here.
We have an amazing amount of tools in this little space.
Yeah. I mean, just the machinery alone we have big machines and a lot of them.
Yeah, for such a small shop.
I mean, the shop is 800 square feet, and I'd say 300 of that is filled with machinery.
Right.
Well, maybe a little bit less than that, but.
Well, we have about a 12-foot square open space in the center of the shop usually. So we can.
That's if there's nothing else in the shop.
Yeah. Right now, we don't have that.
Yeah, if we were to pan this camera around, it's pretty tight.
There's not too much floor space.
No, I mean, we have 4 chaise lounges in here, 2 wall units, and
the crazy
secretary
thing. It just doesn't want to go away.
Yeah.
Just waiting.
Yeah, waiting for some hinges.
So, I'm curious if Black Tenon is going to be starting from scratch. And a lot of people like to stick with one brand of tool. I don't know if that makes sense. We don't really.
No. I mean, no company makes the best of everything, or the best value.
For like intermediate size places, Grizzly gets a lot of that business because they can be a one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
And there's generally some good value in those machines if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, if you got the time, look around for used stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if if you're looking for something more specific than what the hell we're talking about, just let us know. We can either we'll hit you in the DMs of Instagram or we'll talk about it next week.
But I would re-emphasize good dust collection and thinking before you buy machines about shop layout and how you're going to do things. One of the, I don't know if I'll say smartest or luckiest things I did when we put the shop up was add a little room on the outside of the shop to put the cyclone in.
Yeah, don't put your dust collector in the shop.
It's so much quieter, and we stick the compressor out there too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, if the machine's on, we don't even know the dust collector's on. We got to hit our little remote control. It's like, is it on?
Yeah, I wait to see the lights flicker when I turn it on.
So I think that answers everything.
Yeah.
Let's thank our patrons.
Yeah, we have to talk about beer of the week. I got to add that stuff back to the end because we never
forget about it.
Yeah.
Beer of the week.
Just like a regular beer. Yeah.
I was a little disappointed.
This is like if you want to make it look like you're not just like a regular Joe.
Yeah.
But you really are. This is what you drink.
You're
look, I'm cool.
I'm drinking a craft beer. No,
no.
This didn't taste like it at all.
This is made by Coors Light, and just put a different sticker on it.
Yeah, I was thoroughly disappointed.
Yeah, it really lacked any flavor or anything of interest. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is it's like a Chili's. We're a restaurant. Wow.
This is the Chili's of what Chili's is to Mexican food. This is to beer.
Yeah.
To craft beer.
It's like Chili's is really just McDonald's with stuff on the wall.
Yeah. So, not a home run there.
No, it tastes like rice and corn.
Yeah.
It has that sweet You know, you smell it. It's sickeningly sweet.
Yeah,
Kind of tastes like a Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I thought it was going to be something completely different.
I mean, I would drink another one, but
yeah,
same way I'd eat like a cheeseburger from McDonald's.
Yeah. So there you go. We're not really enthusiastically endorsing the Longboard Island Lager.
No, they have a couple different beers.
Yeah. The Smittix was the stuff for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't forget, we have the beer glasses over on the website, greenstreetjoinery.com. Be on the lookout for that Zoom meeting on Patreon.
Yeah, folks got to kind of write into us in some form or fashion. Let us know what would be a good date, because that way we can pick something that most people can be available.
Yeah, well, it's on Patreon. So if you're if you're not a patron, don't bother sending me a message about when you're available because you can't watch it anyway.
Sorry about that.
But the patrons, there's a thing on the Patreon now where you can let us know when's a good time. We'll try and do it whatever's best for most people. Obviously, it's not going to work for everybody, but we'll record it as well. That way you can watch it. I think that's all I had. We want to thank our gold tier patrons, Jerry Greenan, David Murphy, Manny Sirianni, Dustin Fair, Adam Pothast, and David Shoemaker. We appreciate you guys a lot.
Yeah.
The Patreon it's growing a little bit. It's nice.
Yeah.
Helps, offset the cost of doing the podcast. It's
wonderful.
It's an entire man day every week. So,
and it also makes us feel good.
Yeah.
As far as people investing in us with their time and a little bit of their money.
And if you don't know, on our Patreon, so right after the show, we'll do the bonus show where we sit down for anywhere between a half hour to an hour. I think we've gone over an hour on some of them, but
especially when we have a guest.
Yeah, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, woodworking. We'll dish on some stuff that we can't talk about on air. So yeah, if you join the Patreon, you get access to all those bonus shows. We got about 20 of them now. So every week we do. It's like getting an extra podcast every week.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and
add those educational Zoom things. Yeah,
because I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
If they got any ideas about like what they want to see and.
That's what I figured. After this first one, we can, we'll what do they call it? We'll gauge the room. We'll see what people want to hear about.
I'm running out of steam. I was up all night last night.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have another beer.
that would completely put me out. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week for episode 31.
Yeah, we'll be in the second quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Sales and use tax coming up. Get that paid.
That's right. April 20th.
Yeah.
Those dates are ground into my mind.
Well, thanks everybody. See you next week.